Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الحمد لله رب العالمين. الحمد لله الحي القيوم, the one who is living and gives life to all else. Alhamdulillah الذي يحيي ويميت. He is the one who gives life and causes death. Al-Aziz al-Hakim, who is exalted and wise. هو الأول والآخر. He's the one who is the originator and the finality. وهو الظاهر والباطن. He is the one who is manifest and obvious, and the one who is somewhat hidden. Never completely hidden, but somewhat hidden, causing the servant to have to seek Allah. That Allah is not always going to be manifest, that you have to seek Allah and seek the ilm, knowledge of Allah Ta'ala. نحمده, we praise Him. وَنَسْتَغْفِرْهُ وَنَسْتَعِينُهُ وَنَتُوبُ إِلَيْهِ. We seek forgiveness of Allah. We seek His help and support. Al-Musta'anu, Nasta'inahu. وَنَتُوبُ إِلَيْهِ. And we turn repentantly to Him. وَنَشْهَدُ أَن لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهُ وَنَشْهَدُ أَنَّ مُحَمَّدًا عَبْدُهُ وَرَسُولُهُ. We bear witness there is no God but Allah, and we bear witness that Muhammad is His servant and messenger. In Alhamdulillah, we always begin in Alhamdulillah, surely, of a surety, certainly, that all the praise belongs to Allah, belongs to no one but Allah. And Alhamdulillah. But there is also, in the hamd, there's an aspect of shukr, there's an aspect of gratitude, of thankfulness. This aspect of gratitude is due to Allah and to servants of Allah. And Allah requires gratitude of us. He wants the hamd from us, He wants that, but He requires, He commands us to shukr, to be grateful. In several places in Quran. So that He says in Surah Al-Duha, He says, it's also called Surah Al-Insan, by the way, it's called the Surah of the human being. Dahr means time. Surah Al-Dahr, it's Surah 76 in Juz al-Tabarak, the 29th Juz. So what He says there, He says, Inna hada, of all the things He has given, He says, Inna hada kana lakum jaza'an. All of this is a reward or good for you. Wa kana sa'yukum mashkura. Your efforts, your deed, your striving, everything, sa'yukum mashkura, is appreciated. And Allah is ash-shakur. He is the grateful one, the one who is grateful and who wants gratitude from us. So what He says for us, فَاذْكُرُونِي, and this is in Surah Al-Baqarah, فَاذْكُرُونِي أَذْكُرْكُمْ. Remember me, I will remember you. وَاشْكُرُوا لِي وَلَا تَكْفُرُونَ. Be grateful to me and do not be ungrateful. And what's important to note about this is that whenever Allah is contrasting shukr, which is gratefulness and gratitude and thankfulness, with ingratitude, the opposite is kufr, which we tend to take as being those who reject faith. Kufr is rejecting faith, but kufr is also ingratitude. And so that when we're not being thankful, when we're not being grateful to Allah and to people, then we are taking steps into kufr. We're becoming like a kafir. So it's important to be grateful. It's important to live with thankfulness and gratitude, and to keep that as a daily part of our character. And in another place, it says, Balillaha, remember which surah it is, Balillaha fa'bud, worship, but no, worship Allah, wa kum mina shakirin, be of those who are grateful. So it's be of those who are grateful, be of those who are thankful. It's not an option. If we are being obedient to Allah, we will be grateful. We will express gratitude. We will be thankful. But that's Surah Al-Zumar, which is Surah 39. So I can write, if anybody wants to know that, I can write things on the board. So, having said that, then it is that I must be in a state of shukr for being able, invited by Allah and invited by my nephew, to do this, and be grateful to those of you who are here and have the patience to be here and listen, and inshallah to feel that your time was well spent with what you learn or what you hear. So I'm grateful for this, and I, shukran li labish. Jazakumullah, may Allah reward all of you also, and may Allah keep us grateful for. It's a saying, it says, if you speak gratitude, you say thank you, you say, oh, I appreciate you, or I appreciate that, that's being polite. And if you act thankfully, do things, then that's being noble. You make yourself a noble creature by acting with gratitude. But if you live with gratitude, if you can make that a part of who you are and live that way, then you touch heaven. Because Allah is as shakur. And when we live with shukr, we take on a divine attribute. And it is one of the Asma al-Husna, as shakur. So if we live that way, if we live that way, then we have the characteristic that is part of the quality of Allah, part of the attribute of Allah. So this is part 3 of love that reflects the love of Allah. So in the Arabic, there are 2 words, 2 basic words that give the main aspects of love, and that is the hub and the wood. And what we focused on in parts 1 and 2 was the hub. So I'll just put it up here. So there is al-hub, and there is al-wood. And both of these have the English word love. But obviously, and in your in the Quran, in your interpretations or your translations, you're going to find the word love, no doubt. Whether in the Arabic you have either one, you're going to find the word love. And so in both of them, there's the aspect of love, the sentiment love. There's the aspect of desiring, wanting. But obviously, these are 2 distinct words, so they are distinct. And when we looked at the hub, which is what we focused on in part 1 and 2, and by the way, you can access that on the YouTube channel, Only God is God. I probably should put that somewhere. For those who will be seeing this later, the parts 1 and parts 2 will be on the YouTube channel. If I don't do this right, it's all small letters, right?
Yes.
Is that preceded by www?
No.
No. And what is it? Nothing? Just
That's
that?
it, yep.
Okay, so this is the YouTube channel. So you can access parts 1 and 2 on there. So so when we looked at the aspect of the hope, that it's a love that is responsive to something. Allah yuhibbul muhsinin. He loves those who perfect their character. Allah yuhibbul muttaqin. He loves those who guard their souls. Allah yuhibbul mutawakkilin. He loves those who depend on Him. Wallah yuhibbul mutahirin. He loves those who purify themselves. So it's always, the hub is always in response to something that the servant is doing. And then there's the opposite of that, which we did in part 2. Allah la yuhibbu. He doesn't love. La yuhibbul المتكبرين, he doesn't love those who are arrogant. لا يحب المفسدين, those who corrupt. He doesn't love those who do evil, who sin, who are arrogant. المتكبرين, those who think that they have, they're large and big and great. And mu'tadeen, he doesn't love the mu'tadeen, those who exceed the boundaries that he set. So it is Allah yuhibbu wa Allah la yuhibbu. That's the hub love. He loves or he doesn't love. But these are character traits, virtues or lack of virtue. With the wood, well, let me finish, be sure I'm finished with that. So, in the hub, because we want, this is love that reflects the love of Allah, that's the whole point of this. We want to learn to love what Allah loves. We want to love those who have virtuous character, and we want to not love and not like and not be associated with or appreciative of those who do not have qualities that are pleasing to Allah. So that's how we learn to love the way that Allah loves and to not love what Allah does not love. So we begin to question ourselves. And that's including within the self. It includes that which is within me and those in the characteristics that are in those, on my outer world. So we love as Allah loves. So this is, it's a part of purification. It's purifying the self and also purifying your surroundings by purifying your associates. You change those with whom you associate based on the hub of Allah Ta'ala. Also, the verb that is there, habba, the verb habba, is also what comes from this. This is the verb, so this is habba. The word habbat, which is a seed, comes from this too, habbat. Because seeds, you plant them and they're just tiny. But then a seed can grow into a tree, right? Or into a bush or to whatever, a plant that produces food. So that's the way that hub love is. It's a love that can be just very small, almost non-existent, and then can grow into a very flourishing, beautiful, productive thing. So that's hub. That's the hub. But what we're focusing on today is the wood. So, and the same thing, there's a verb here, wadda. That's the verb. And it means to love. They both mean to love. But this love is love that is basically unconditional, that exists just because. It's love that Allah has because He created. He loves every aspect of His creation. He has love for everything that He created, that He brought into existence. And there is nothing that exists that did not come into existence by the will and the kun of Allah Ta'ala, the command, kun, be. So He, and you might say, well, let me give you the ayah first that I wanted to start with in this aspect, okay? And this, for this section, or this part 3, from Surah Al-Hud, from Surah 11, Surah Al-Hud, Hud, alayhi salam, Prophet of Allah Ta'ala, says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم واستغفروا ربكم ثم توبوا إليه إن ربي رحيم ودود. Seek forgiveness of your Lord, then turn repentantly to Him. Surely, truly, my Lord, this is Hud speaking to my Lord, Rahimun Wadud. He is compassionately responsive, loving. Rahim, compassionately responsive, who responds to His servants with compassion. Each individual. Wadud, who is loving to all. So this, Allah exists in his essence, in all of his attributes, before anything else, before anything that he created. Allah is. I think you get the same sense from Genesis, when you read the Bible in Genesis. But Allah exists and has all of his qualities before anything that he brings into existence. And when he creates out of rahmah, out of mercy, wanting to express his mercy, and out of wud, wanting to express his love. And when you want to understand anything, to know anything, to know what we can know in our limited capacity, you study the creation of Allah and let that lead you to study Allah. In Allah wanting us to know him, he says, he gives us his attributes. In this case, in this ayah from Surah Al-Hud, which is ayah number 90, it is Rahimun Wadud, one who is a merciful one and one who is a loving one. Another place when he puts forth this quality of Wadud is in Surah 85, which is Surah Al-Buruj, the constellations, Buruj 85, it's in Juz al-Amad, the final juz. And it says, إِنَّهُ هُوَ يُبْدِئُ وَيُعِيدُ إِنَّهُ هُوَ يُبْدِئُ وَيُعِيدُ. He originates and he restores. He originates things and then he brings that life back, restores it again and again and again. It's kind of like you see this every year, right? That things that look dead, they come back to life. Trees that are barren start to bear fruit. And they had an origin, and every being has the same origin. Allah is al-Badi'. He is the one who originates. So he yubdi'u wa yu'id. He originates and he continues. وَهُوَ الْغَفُورُ الْوَدُودُ. He is the one who is ample in forgiveness, oft forgiving, quick to forgive. And that's a whole nother topic. But al-Ghafur, the literal meaning of Ghafara is the one who covers. He covers the sins and faults so that they're not known. He is the coverer, and he's quick to cover the sin. He will hide it within you, and he may hide it to the outside world. And he is the one, Al-Ghafur, will also hide it so that Yawm al-Qiyamah, nobody knows. If that's his will. If it is his will to forgive, no one will know your sin. So that's Al-Ghafur. So here it says, Huwa al-Ghafur al-Wadud. He is the quick to forgive, the often forgiving, and he is the loving one. Dhul Arsh al-Majid, the owner of the noble, magnificent throne. And the Arsh is not anything physical. We think of an Arsh, a throne of, like what the king sits on or the queen sits on, and even, the Sulaiman and Bilqis, the queen of Yemen, they have their seat of authority is called the throne. Allah, his arsh, wasi'a kulli shay'in, his arsh extends over everything, as-samawati wal ard, the whole heavens and all of the earth. So it's not a physical structure, but it is his sovereignty. Dhul Arsh al-Majid, he is the possessor or owner of this magnificent throne. Fa'alun lima yurid. He is the doer of whatever he wants. He does whatever he wants. So, but here, the Wadud, the name of Wadud is in here, in this ayah. So, in both cases, and in most cases in the Quran, Allah pairs his attributes. He doesn't just give you one. Sometimes he does. Like Ar-Rahman, that's one attribute and it's one A. Surah Ar-Rahman, Surah 55. He gives you that singularly. But most of the time he pairs, like Rahman, Rahim. And in the first ayah it was هو غفور الودود رحيم الودود, the mercifully responsive, the loving one. And in the second ayah it's غفور الودود, it is forgiving and loving. So most of the time you'll find that Allah will put his attributes in pairs. Sometimes it's giving you different aspects of the same thing, like Rahman Rahim. Sometimes it's giving you totally different attributes. But even in being totally different attributes or qualities or names, they're all still part of Allah. So they're not distinct, you can't separate. It's just like anything that is part of me is me. Whoever I am is, I have different qualities and attributes, but it's still me. So he is the one who is Al-Wadud. And his love is encompassing. Al-Wadud is, as if, unconditional. It's not based on my quality or what I do. It is just based on me being me. It is based on the fact that he created me or created you. That is Al-Wadud. He loves you because he put you here. He created you and put you here. And so he has wood for you. It's part of his reality. It's part of the haqq of Allah, the truth, the reality of Allah. And he loves all beings that he has created. And so then you might say, well, what about the sinner and what about the evil? Does he love that? When we recite Surah Al-Falaq, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم, you can, we say, قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ الْفَلَقِ, I take refuge with the Lord of the falaq, the breaking between the night and the day. I take refuge with this Rabbi al-Falaq, with the Lord who splits between the night and the day. مِنْ شَرِّ مَا خَلَقَ, from the evil of what he created. The evil of what he created. So, there are beings that Allah created who have capacity for evil and capacity for good. Humans and jinn, particularly, who have free choice. He gave us capacity to do good or to do evil, and to choose between these two. So, still, does he love these beings? Yes. Even in the punishing, it's like, I created you, but you chose this. And I have said, if this is what you choose, this is your outcome. That's inevitable. You have to go to the nar, to the fire, to the Jahannam that will disfigure you, but that doesn't mean that he doesn't have wood. When he created that being, he created them out of wood. Even the shaitan. When you look at the conversations between Allah Ta'ala and shaitan, Iblis, the one who has been put far away from Allah, the one who is in desolation because he is put away from Allah, that he does have la'natullah alayhi, he has the curse of Allah on him. When you look at those conversations, you feel the love of Allah and the respect of Allah for this being that he created and chose to disobey him. You look in, I had two examples of these conversations between Allah and Iblis, or Allah and the shaitan, not the shaitan, but shaitan. One is from Surah Al-Hijr, which is Surah 15. And in both cases that I'll give you, these are kind of extensive, and I'm not going to go through the whole discourse between them. But in one he says, yeah, Iblis, I didn't write the beginning of it down from Surah Al-Hijr, but it goes from Surah 28, from Ayah 28 to Ayah 44. In Surah Al-Hijr, it goes from 28 to 44. That's a long conversation between Allah and this being who is disobeying, being rebellious, being arrogant. But Allah gives him a chance. It gives him a chance to talk. He asks him questions. It's a question and answer. It's a Q&A, and it's letting him talk. And then he asked, Iblis asked for something, and Allah says, okay, you can have that. Let me try to open fairly quickly to where it starts. So when Allah said to the angels, وَإِذْ قَالَ اللَّهُ لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ إِنِّي خَالِقٌ بَشَرًا مِنْ صَلْصَالٍ مِنْ حَمَاءٍ مَسْنُونٍ. So Allah speaking to the angels, I'm going to create this human being from this, hollow, from the essence of this Hamad Masnoon, this dried, molded clay. And then he says, when I form him and nafakhtu fihi min ruhi, and I breathe into him, faqa'u lahu sajidin, then bow down. فَسَجَدَ الْمَلَائِكَةُ كُلُّهُمْ. So all of the angels bow down, كُلُّهُمْ أَجْمَعِينَ, all of them all together, إِلَّا إِبْلِيسَ أَبَّى أَنْ يَكُونُ مَعَ السَّاجِدِينَ. Except Iblis, he refused. He was not going to be of those who make sujood. And then so Allah then says, قَالَ يَا إِبْلِيسُ مَا لَكَ. Ya Iblis, what's wrong with you? مَا لَكَ أَلَّا تَكُونُ مَعَ السَّاجِدِينَ. Why is that you are not going to be of those who make the sujood? And then Iblis speaks back. قَالَ لَمْ أَكُنْ لِأَسْجُدَ لِبَشَرٍ خَلَقْتَهُ مِنْ صَلْصَالٍ مِنْ حَمَاءٍ مَسْنُونٍ. I'm not going to bow to one that you created from this essence of dirt that you molded into shape. So, and it goes on, and then when Allah says, okay, then you have to get out of here, and you're going to be cursed, and He says, فَانْذِرْنِي, grant me respite, let me live, don't destroy me right now, let me live, إِلَى يَوْمَ يُبْعَثُونَ, to the day that you raise them up. And Allah says, okay, you can be of the mundirin, be of those who have that respite, I'll let you live. So this, you see this conversation, letting him explain himself, giving him what he asked for, and because Allah knew, He knew this would happen. He knew the nature of Iblis, but that wasn't his name before, by the way. He had a respectful name before he got these negative attributes, because he was with the angels, but he was not an angel. And I want to be sure that everybody knows that there is no such being as a fallen angel. Angels can only do what they are commanded. They have no freedom of choice like the jinn. And Iblis or Shaitan, he's a jinn. But he was so good at one time in his being. He was such an obedient servant. He was such a good servant that he was elevated to sit with the angels. So when the angels get the command, he's there with them. He gets the command too, but he refused because he had a choice. He had the ability to choose. Angels don't have the ability to choose. So there is no such thing as a fallen angel, and that's a misconception amongst many Muslims as well as amongst the Christians. They believe that the devil is a fallen angel. That's not true. So this conversation goes back and forth. And I mean, it's just to say, he, at that time, was the only representation of evil, the only representation of disobedience. There was no other, because only angels existed and Allah was creating the human being. And there were other beings that were created, like, planets and the things that exist on the planets. But there was no evil, there was no disobedience, there was no sin until that sin. But even with the sinner, Allah has respect and gives them a chance to explain themselves, to turn back, to take another choice. You don't have to be this way. The conversation, another long conversation between Allah and Shaitan in Surah 38, which is sort of the Sawd, and same type of thing. And he says again, Ya Iblis, ma mana'aka, what holds you back? Ma mana'aka an tasjud, what is holding you back from making sujood? لِمَنْ خَلَقْتُ بِيَدَيَّ, what I created with my two hands. And then he says, أَسْتَكْبَرْتَ, this is Allah asking, are you arrogant? Or أَمْ كُنْتَ مِنَ الْأَعْلِينَ, or are you from those who are exalted? And he says, أَنَا خَيْرٌ مِنْهُ, I'm better than him. I'm better than the one you're telling me to make sujood to. So, even in this arrogance, but I will point out one thing. In both cases, when Shaitan addresses Allah, he calls him Rabbi, my Lord. He acknowledges that Allah is his Lord. He acknowledges that Allah is Al-Aziz, because he says, Bi-izzatika, by your greatness, by your glory, I'm going to mislead them. In other words, he knows that whatever he has is given to him from Allah, whom he calls Rabbi, he calls him my Lord. So, and Allah lets him talk, goes on. He says, okay, you're saying what's true, and let me tell you what's true, So it goes on to Allah tells him what his end will be and what will be the end of those who follow him. So when you ask, so does Allah also love the sinner? Yes. But that doesn't change the fact that the consequence of the sinner who does not repent will be very harsh and severe. So, but yes, the wood is there, because the wood is unconditional. It is because Allah created. So he has wood. He is al-wadud to everyone. Okay. So Allah remains al-wadud. It does not change. But I also remember he is shadid al-iqab. He is harsh in the outcome. And he is, he has adabin shadid. He has harsh punishment. So the name Al-Wadud, that's just wood. So let's put the name of Allah here, the quality of Allah. Allah is Al-Wadud. Al-Wadud. The name Al-Wadud is both a subject noun, but it also can be an object, meaning that Allah can be the one loving and the one receiving love. Al-Wadud. Just the dhamma would change to a fatha on the end, that's all. He is Al-Wadud, the one who loves, and he is the one who receives love. That he's the giver of the all-present, unconditional love, and he is loved by his creation. He gives love and he receives love. So it is infinite. The wood of Allah is infinite, has no measure and no end. And in this infinite love, he put attributes, qualities into his creation. And one of the qualities he put into the creation is the ability to love the Creator. The desire to know the Creator and the ability to love the Creator. And this is in all of the creation. And I think it's important for us to not think in terms of angels, jinn, and humans only, but to remember that creation is the rock, the blade of grass, the star, the sun, the air, everything. And so in everything that there is the wood, there is love. And the ability of that entity, whatever it is, the space that we think is space, that is full of beings, the ability in that being to love Allah. And to read from this book called The Name and the Named. Allah has attributes, that is the name, and the one named is Allah. So Al-Wadud, it says, it's the sole, S-O-L-E, mean only, goal of the heart, which seeks the love of Allah. That's what's instilled in us. Remember, you know, as a creation of Allah, there's some things that you just can't get away from. You have attributes in you that are put in, we have attributes in us that are put in us because we are created by Allah. So our heart wants that love. The heart wants to love Allah and wants the love from Allah. The heart is, it says, the sole goal of the heart, which seeks the love of Allah. But love, would, is only possible if the lover is aware of the beloved. So me, as an amatullah, as a servant of Allah, I can only love Allah if I'm aware of Allah. And that's the same for each one. Be aware of Allah as well as the beauty and perfection of that one that I seek to love. So you have to know Allah, get to know Allah, so that the wood can develop in the heart. It says, for most people, awareness depends on the senses, and the senses are many. Think of your senses. You think hearing, sight, feeling, touch, taste, smell. Senses are many. Each one of the senses is attracted to different things. My sense of smell is attracted to things I love to smell. My sense of hearing is attracted to what I love to hear. My sense of sight is attracted to what I love to see. My sense of touch is attracted to what I can touch and it feels nice, or what touches me and it feels nice. So each, it says the senses are attracted to different things. When the soul is aware of, it says itself, but I will put herself, because kullu nafsa hiyyat, every soul is female. When the soul is aware of herself, and one is aware of one's soul, then the senses follow the soul, which is aware of the whole. In here, I want to insert from Surah Al-Shams. We're talking about the nafs. In Surah Al-Shams, Allah Ta'ala says, and these are like 3 ayah, I believe, from Surah 8 to 10, 8, 9, 10. Surah Al-Shams, which is the sun. It says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ونفس وما سواها فألهمها فجورها وتقواها قد أفلح من زكاها قد خاب من دساها. So by the nafs and her structure, her proportion. Again, every nafs, every soul is female. Not by my saying, but Allah. By the nafs and the proportion given to her, and her inspiration, her instinct, instinctual knowledge. By your soul, you're successful, and you fail. Who corrupts her or buries her. So, says when the soul is aware of herself, and the soul has instinctual awareness, the soul is aware of herself, and then we become aware of the soul leading us to good or evil. We have to pay attention, because the soul has that negative side. That's how we see evil people. They weren't created that way, they became that way. So we have to pay attention so that we're protecting our soul, not giving in to the negative inclinations, but pushing to the good. So it says that when you become aware of the soul, the senses will follow the soul. Allah is the one beloved of the soul. Allah is the one whom the soul loves, because all perfection is in Him. Allah is the only totally perfect being. And I hate to say being, but it's like you have no words to describe Allah. All the senses are ecstatic with the inexhaustible sweet taste of the perfection. So how does one reach the state of sensitivity and awareness when the flesh naturally loves the good life? It loves the pleasures, it loves health, it loves home, it loves property, business, wealth. It says no ordinary person needs education intelligence, or incentive and guidance to love these things. You don't need to be educated to love wealth, or to love a nice house, or to love prosperity. You don't have to be educated, and you don't have to be motivated to love those things. That sort of comes naturally. But to love Allah, we need at least intelligence. At least intelligence and guidance in order to realize that everything we naturally love belongs to Allah. So all of these things for which we don't need, to be taught to love, these things belong to Allah. If I love my personality, which most of us don't, but if I love that, that comes from Allah. If I love my friends, they come from Allah. If I love my family, they were given to me by Allah. If I love my home, that's a gift from Allah. If I love, whatever you love, if I love, the beach, that's a creation of Allah. So all of the things that we love, we have to understand these are Allah's possessions. They belong to Him. They're a gift to us. And that this is a sign of al-wadud in our life. So all that we have is temporary. We're temporary. Okay? So even it is only the soul, the soul, which is a gift to us, and the owner of the soul that are permanent. The soul will not die. The soul goes back to Allah as the creator of the soul. But all of the finite material, that's gone. So it is, that's why it says, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَاهَا. Your success is only in the purification of your soul, in the guarding of your soul. That's all, because that's all that lasts. So, al-wadud, if Allah loves you, then He gives you understanding, He gives you consciousness, and He gives you faith. He gives you iman. And Allah is the one who prefers His righteous servants, who has a greater wood for the righteous ones. And this is a hadith of Ali radiallahu anhu. Ali, the cousin of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the son of the uncle Abu Talib, Ali bin Abi Talib. So Ali, the son of Abu Talib, who is the uncle of the Prophet, he said, if you wish to be loved by your Lord, draw close to those who abandon you. Give to those who are stingy towards you. Forgive those who harm you. These are not easy things to do, but if you seek the love of Allah, because remember that the love of Allah is an unconditional love. It is a love simply because you exist. It's a love simply because you are. We are. That's the wood. The wood comes from that. Okay, so I think I finished. So the desire for this love is like we have this need that wanting love is something that is just natural, and it's a need actually. It's a need that we want to have satisfied. But the search, how we look for that, needs to be corrected through our ibadat, the way that we worship Allah, and correcting ourselves so that we begin, again, seeking to love as Allah loves. We love all beings because Allah created them. I might not like you, but I love you as a creation of Allah. I have to. And it's dangerous not to, because what you see, even in the evil person, you say, that's a soul that Allah created. That's a being that Allah created. What happened to them? How did they become disfigured and distorted to the point that they are abhorrent, that I would, despise them? But yet, I have to be careful. I have to be very careful as to how I think and speak of anyone, beings. I said this morning, the critters were active, the shayateen. You should be aware of that too, when they're active in your world. So I needed stickies, these little, what do we call them? These, I ripped these up. These are like a portion. But I was thinking, okay, where did I last have it? Well, I had done some teaching in Pennsylvania a couple of weeks ago. And I said, oh yeah, I put it in that bag. So I got up off the floor, go to the closet, pull that bag out, find what I'm looking for, this sticky pad, Post-it notes, in the pocket where I had put it. I took it out, took it. Then when I got ready for it, I couldn't find it. It wasn't there. Like, I went and got it, I brought it back, where is it? I picked up everything. Not that, maybe it's too flat. Picked up my papers, picked up this, picked up that, picked up the books. It's nowhere. Maybe I put it on, laid it down on my way between that room and this room. Went back, nowhere. I said, okay, fine. I'll use paper clips. I said, what else do I have? So I went and got paper clips. Finished everything, picking my stuff up, putting it, and there's the little pad of Post-it notes sitting on the floor in plain view. If you've had that happen, shayateen can take your things and take them into the ghaib, to the unseen. But Allah will usually make them put it back. So when you find that happen, you say, I know, I looked there, I didn't see that. But there it is in plain, it's perfectly obvious, because Allah made them put it back. It's like, okay, fine. I'm aware, I'm sitting there saying, I'm aware of that. I see it, yes, I see it. I know, it's there. When I wanted it, it wasn't there, it's there now. So, we have to understand that evil is active, and some of it is minor and some of it is major, but Allah loves all of His beings, and even in not liking, I still cannot have some wood because these are beings that Allah created. Get on your nerves, agitate you, whatever, but they're creations of Allah. Okay? So, we seek to align ourselves with, okay. We seek to align ourselves with this wood of Allah Ta'ala. And what Allah says about this wood in Surah Al-Maryam, which is beautiful, beautiful surah, Surah Al-Maryam, Mary. It's the only surah in the Quran named after a woman. You have Surah Al-Hud, Surah Al-Yunus, Surah Al-Yusuf, Surah Ibrahim, Surah Muhammad. You have surahs named after different prophets. Surah Luqman. There's only one surah in the entire Quran named after a woman, and that's Surah Al-Maryam. So it's a special surah, just by that. And in that surah, close to the end of the surah, ayah 96 of Surah Al-Maryam, Allah says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم إن الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات سيجعل لكم الرحمن ود. Those who believe and do good, amal salihat, you do virtuous deeds, you're doing good, soon will Allah place or make for them, and not Allah, soon will Ar-Rahman make for them. سَيَجْعَلُ لَهُمْ الرَّحْمَنُ would. Allah will make love, place love for you. So, what does this mean? So it says Allah will put love into the hearts of others for you. Allah will put love into His creation for you. Because you are acting well, and you have iman, you have belief, you have conviction in your heart, and you're trying to do good, then Allah will put love in His creation for you. I don't know if I could access the no, I've done, let's see if I can. The wood. It says that when it says when Allah will make for them, yaj'al, say yaj'al, sa, the scene is soon, quickly, fast. سَيَجْعَلَ لَهُمْ. He will make for them, meaning us. It says, is a love between himself and that one who has iman and does amal as-salih. He makes between himself and them, and between believers and them, and between all of the ibadullah and them, wood. And that is between the angels and you, between the humans and you, between the plants and you, between the animals and you, and between the believing jinn and you. So you know the ones that are taking your stuff, they're not mu'min, they don't believe. But anyway, and they don't have wood for you. They don't have love for you. So, but Allah will put love into all of the believing beings in His creation, put wood between them and the abd or the amat, the male servant or the female servant, who has iman and is doing good. There will be wood. You will find this love everywhere in the creation of Allah and in the people of Allah. So when someone doesn't have that for you, they don't love you, you don't find the loving kindness coming from someone towards you, then that's an indication that they're not in the state of iman. They don't really have your belief. So we should expect the wood. We should expect love from others, because Allah is placing that in others for us. And we should desire that. We should want it. And we should be happy when we find it, we see it. So we learn to love the presence of Allah, in the creation of Allah. And wherever we find it, and in whomever we find it. And as far as, it says, as far as the love of Allah for those who have iman, الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ, He graces them, He ennobles them. He graces us and ennobles and raises us in nobility and ability. Nobility and ability. Meaning He makes us noble. He already has ennobled us because we're human beings. We have nobility. لَقَدْ قَرَمْنَا بَنِي Adam. He has ennobled the children of Adam. So we have nobility. But He will increase your nobility and He will increase your ability. This is out of the wood that Allah Ta'ala has. And how Allah establishes love, some of that you learn from the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, that when Allah loves you, He says to Jibril, Uhibbu, I love this one. That's the hub. He says, Uhibbu, I love them. And then Jibril says to all of the angels, and then the angels go and spread that across the earth, and it goes and goes and goes until every part of the creation that you encounter knows who you are and has a wood, has a love for you as a servant of Allah. So so Allah ennobles and enables, and He graces His servants with His own excellence. Not to the full capacity, of course, but some of His excellence we will find in the servants. So the attribute of Wadud, Al-Wadud, is similar to the attribute of Ar-Rahman. In what way? Because Ar-Rahman is the all-merciful, the one who gives unconditional mercy. Allah is the one who creates the tree to bear the fruit and makes the fruit available to everybody, to the sinner and to the saint. They can pick the fruit. Now, they may not get the same sweetness of the fruit, but they can get the fruit. The day is a sunny, beautiful day. The murderer is enjoying that day the same way as the righteous person. And the person that they will victimize, they're getting the same beauty, warmth. So that is Ar-Rahman. And Al-Wadud is that way. He has the wood for that is unconditional. So it's up to us to be worthy, to make ourselves more worthy of it, but it's there. Okay? So Allah Ta'ala says that in this aspect of al-wadud asa, this is from Surah Al-Mumtahanna, which is Surah 60. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم عسى الله أن يجعل بينكم وبين الذين عاديتم منهم مودة, that perhaps Allah will make between you, plural, and between those who have a hatred towards you, or who are your enemies of people, He will make mawaddat, He will make love. How and why? You know, because when Allah has wood for you, if He wants others to have wood for you, they will not be able to help themselves. Allah yaf'alu ma yurid. He does whatever He wants. Remember that. He does whatever He wants. So perhaps even those, when you don't allow yourself to not have wood in your heart, just that basic love in your heart, perhaps Allah will change the animosity, the enmity, the between that is between you and others. He will put the wood in their hearts. And what did I want to read? Okay, so for the servants of Allah, what is it that we have to be sensitive and aware of what is pleasing to Allah? Part of what will increase the wood is the obedience to Allah. Part of what will increase the wood is the dhikr of Allah, remembering Allah. Being submissive, the silm, you know, to say, aslamtu, I submit to you. This makes Allah love us even more. By exalting Him, you know, in our behavior and with our words. We don't just say Allahu Akbar. If you're going to say Allahu Akbar, that Allah is greater than all else, then you have to act that way. You have to make that Allah be greater than all else. Because these are signs of really having love for Allah Ta'ala. And then restricting the wood. Is the wood restricted? Yes, but it's not eliminated. And we should restrict the wood and our love for certain people, but we cannot eliminate it. Okay, so in I forget what Surah 58 is, but anyway, maybe it will come to 58. 57 is Hadid, 58 is Mujadila, the woman who pleads, I believe. So Allah Ta'ala says in this surah in ayah 22, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم لا تجدوا قوما يؤمنون بالله واليوم الآخر. I'm going to skip the Arabic. You will not find a people who believe in Allah and the last day, who having love for those who are in opposition to Allah. You will not find them having love, this wood, for those who are in opposition to Allah and are in opposition to Rasulullah. Even, it says even, وَلَوْ كَانُوا, even if they are in among your parents, or your children, or your brothers and sisters, إخوانهم, or it says, okay, so, or your relatives. So even you will not have this wood, this strong love for people who are in opposition to Allah, even if they're close to you. Because it says, and if you're like this, these are the ones on whom hearts He has written faith. Iman is on your heart, and He has strengthened you with qulubihim al-iman. So there's iman on your hearts. وَأَيَّدَهُمْ, and He strengthened you with a special ruh, the spirit from Himself. So when you have to have wood, but you will not be feeling this strong love for those who are in opposition to Allah. But it's not gone. It's not active. Let me put it that way. It's not active. And it says of these type of people, He will يدخلهم, he will cause you to enter the Jannat, تجري من تحتها, with rivers flowing beneath, and خالدين, you will live there, with no end. And it says, radiallahu, with Allah is pleased with them, and they are pleased with him. And these are the Hezbollah, these are the party of Allah. And you have a fellowship with Allah, you in companionship with Allah. Okay? And they are muflihun, you are successful. So the wood can be restricted, Allah will restrict, but Allah will not eliminate. We should restrict, but we cannot eliminate. So I hope that we understand the difference between the hook and the wood, and that we understand that there is wood that we should receive, there's wood that we should receive, and there's wood that we will receive. We should receive wood from our families, from our relatives. We should, but not necessarily mean we will. And the Prophet said, I don't ask you for anything. I just want the love of my family. I don't want any reward. I don't want any money. I don't want any thanks. I don't want anything. I just would like my family to have love for me. This wood. And we should have that, but doesn't mean that you will have it. So the only love that we're guaranteed is the wood from Allah Ta'ala, and the wood trying to have love for all beings and live through the love of Allah. Live with wood. Live with wood. And be grateful for the wood that Allah will establish for us in the world, inshallah. So again, we come back to the gratitude. So we can call upon Al-Wadud, and he says, وَقَالَ رَبُّكَ أَدْعُونِي, call me. This is in the Surah Al-Ghafir, Surah 40. أَدْعُونِي أَسْتَجِبْ لَكُمْ. Call me and I will answer you. So when we want this, just Ya Al-Wadud, Ya Al-Wadud, Ya Al-Wadud. Call on Al-Wadud and seek his love through his attribute, and seek for him to establish this wood in us so that we can act in this world with this, that we can have this love for others. Inshallah. And there is comments, questions? Yes?
What about hate? Can we hate people?
No. You can despise, you can dislike, you cannot really hate. You can hate what they do. You can hate their immoral behavior, but you cannot hate people.
I mean,
why?
A person.
Why can you not hate people? Because people are creations of Allah. Because people have a soul within them that belongs to Allah. You can hate their character. You can dislike, I don't keep repeating the word hate, but to really, I can say, I really can't stand you, I despise you, I don't like you, or whatever, but it's not you, the true essence of you. It is how you're manifesting yourself in the world, how you are being. That you can, yes. Like I cannot hate the evil person, but I can hate their deed. I can hate what they have done. And wonder how on earth they got there, to do that. Other questions or comments?
When you were speaking about, I think it was sword gems, what were the items that you mentioned?
8, 9, 10.
8, 9, no?
8, 9, and 10?
You remember better than me? I would have had to start saying it and counting. So yeah, وَنَفْسٍ وَمَا سَوَاهَا, by the soul and her structure, her proportion. Yeah. Now, anybody that knows Arabic, you understand that the nafs is, there's a book called My Soul is a Woman, because the nafs is, has a feminine attribute. Anything else? Jazakumullah khair, may Allah reward you, and may Allah increase the wood, increase the love in the creation for us, so that we can feel it, experience it, and that we, and I'll tell you, and this is from my own life, from my own experiences that you have to learn to seek love from Allah. If you don't seek it from Allah Ta'ala, you may never experience love in your entire life. So seek love from Allah, because that is a love that will never fail. It's a love that's always there. And it's kind. People will tell you they love you and treat you terribly. You know. Or you say you love someone who is treating you terribly. That's not love. So seek the love of Allah. It is always available. It is meant for us. It is ample, vast, ever-present, and it is beautiful. You will be happy. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.